I have one more story for you. And I'm going to have to get a little serious because this is a story that hurts me every time I tell it. But I want you to know this was a changing time in my life. I was in the 7th grade in Tuckasegee. I had 7 students in my class. There were 3 boys and 4 girls in my class. And we graduated to the 8th grade. And I was going to be able to get on the school bus and go all the way down to Cullowhee, to the big university. And I went to school in the McKee Laboratory building of Western Carolina. Started in the 8th grade. Well, I heard tell that there were going to be 20 students in my class. I was so excited. 20 new friends I was going to have. Oh, I was so excited. You know, there in Tuckasegee, we all looked alike. We all had feed sack dresses, and sometimes we had shoes and sometimes we didn't. And we all come down off of the mountain to that little school. Well, I got on that school bus and I went past the elementary school and went on to Cullowhee. And lo and behold, when I got there, I was the number 1 person in my class. Nobody else was there. So I thought, well, I'll find myself a seat. And I, like a good Baptist, I went to the back of the room. And I sat there, waiting for everybody to come in the door so I could see them. And in come these pretty girls. Oh my gosh, their hair was so pretty. Here, mine was sticking out like this. As you can tell, it's a little frizzy.
Yep.
Imagine coming down off of the mountain for about a mile in the mist. And my hair was out to here. Oh, I was so admiring that hair. And they had these beautiful, beautiful store-bought dresses on. And I was just taken aback with it. It was so pretty. My grin must have been covering my whole face. And then through the door come this tall, good-looking boy. Ooh, thought I'd died and gone to heaven. Here he come. And he come in that door and he walked all the way down that aisle and sit down right in front of me. Oh my gosh, I wondered if I could touch him. And he turned around and looked at me and he got this big grin on his face and I knew he was going to say something real important, so I leaned in. And he said, "That's a pretty dress for a feed sack." And started laughing. And all the girls and boys around him started laughing too. And I did something really bad. All my beautiful childhood went right through the window. And I sat there and heard the words they were saying. Oh, she's off of the mountain. She ain't got nothing. Look at that dress. Everybody's got that kind of feed dress. And for the rest of the school year, I sat in the back of the room as I had originally planned, but I didn't say a word unless I was spoken to. Sometimes I hid behind the door. I was a no-account mountain girl, they said. I was 30 years old. In fact, I was 39 years old. And I was in Northwest Indiana, and I owned my own truck and trailer repair shop. I had 25 mechanics working for me. And I still felt like I was about this big. And one day, something happened. My grandpa's stories started coming up out of my heart. They started coming up into my throat. And I couldn't talk. I could hear his voice. He said, "Save the stories. Save the stories." So I wondered if I could write a book. And I thought, my oldest daughter is going to Purdue University. Maybe I ought to go and see if I could do that too. And I went and took an SAT test and beat her. And went in, and they put me in 405 English. And Professor Charles Tinkham was sitting across from me, and he said to me, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to write a book." He said, "What kind of book?" I said, "I want to write a book about my grandma and grandpa and the stories Grandpa told me. I want to tell their stories, and it's from the North Carolina mountains." And he said, "Well, do you think you can do it?" And I said, "I don't know. I've never tried." He said, "I tell you what, you go home and you write a poem, and you come back tomorrow and you read me that poem, and I'll tell you if you can write a book or not." And I thought, I've never written a poem in my life. So I went home, and my husband went off to work at Bethlehem Steel, and my children went to bed, and I got myself an intimidating looking thing, a blank sheet of paper. And I laid it down there in front of me and grabbed a pen and set my hand down on it. And I thought, why do I think I can't do this? And that scene from the 8th grade came pouring back into my head. And my hand went to writing all by itself. And this is what it said. "I ain't nobody," I heard one day. Hiding behind the door, I heard him say, "She ain't nobody, she don't work a lick. She comes from poor folks back on the creek. Her pa makes liquor, her ma dips snuff. Her kin folks bicker. Just trash, sure enough. So they threw me in a jar, I wasn't but a kid. They threw me in there and then closed the lid. And now I've got a label, this poor mountain kid. They branded me nobody. That's what they did. I ain't nobody." But something wonderful happened when I wrote that. It wasn't inside anymore. It was on that piece of paper. And I grabbed another piece of paper, slapped it down there, and went to writing again. And this is what I said. "I ain't nobody," I heard him say. "Why am I letting them treat me this way? Why was I there behind the door? Let me tell them, give me the floor." It was my kin, Bible in hand, who fought and farmed and settled this land. And my pa and ma, through their seed, gave me a longing only books can feed. They gave me wealth that money can't buy, a pride in family and a spirit in the eye. And what Grandpa had, he gave to me. It's in my heart for the world to see. My people are strong. They made me free. They fought and won. But now, it's up to me. I am somebody. You guys say that with me. I am somebody. Say it as loud as you can. Didn't that feel good? Don't let anybody put their littleness on you. Don't let anybody put their littleness on you. And for goodness sakes, be careful what you say to your neighbor. Because one sentence can change a person's world. It can either make it or break it. Do you know how wonderful you are? Do you really know how wonderful you are? Imagine all those people who came before you, your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandma, grandpa, all the way down to your mom and dad. They gave you gifts. They gave you your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your brain. They gave you everything. They gave you what? Oh, God. They gave you all those gifts. And if you don't do something with who you are, all those people live for nothing, if you think about it. So you have a chance to do something with your life. Do it. My sister, when she was 4, she wanted to draw. She has worked for Walt Disney. She has done storyboarding. She has had artwork that's toured the Smithsonian. She has a master's degree in biomedical art, which is very rare in the United States. She can draw everything inside your body.
Ooh.
I don't know if I'd want to do that or not. But my sister started drawing at 4. And look at, she's made her whole living, her whole life, doing artwork, what she loves to do. And once I started writing, I have written 8 books, and I've told the story that Grandpa told me, and I've done it, Grandpa. I've saved the stories. So please, think about it. Talk to your teacher. If you think you can write, you think you can draw, put yourself, 2 of you get together and do what we do. Who knows? I don't know of anybody else who does this, so you need to really think about it. Dorielle, you have anything you want to say? Maybe I'll let you talk.
Maybe. Well, it's really nice being here today with Amy, and I always love listening to her stories. They always seem new to me every time I hear them. And it's been 30 years since we started. So that's a lot of times to hear her story. But I love them. And I try to capture them in my artwork. And once I have it, I like to give it away. So I would like to give this to your school so that you can remember Amy's stories. When you look at them, at this, what do you see? Come on, Amy. You see stories. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We have another one over here. Give him a hand.
Yeah.
We are the Ammons sisters.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.